Hello to all our dear viewers. Welcome back to the fateful reunion. Diem and Tuan have met again, right here in this seemingly peaceful village. But the moment of reunion has been stained with blood and betrayal. If you thought the story just stopped at the amnesia attack, you were wrong. Not only has Tuan lost his memory, but he has also been stripped of his assets and turned into prey in a deadly game of chess. And the most shocking twist, the mastermind is no stranger, but his very own adoptive mother, the woman Tuan worshipped. Tuan has remembered everything. Now he must pretend to have amnesia to protect Diem from the dark shadow that is lurking. Mr. Thu is in a panic, backed into a corner. Diem stands on the threshold of happiness, completely unaware of the deadly danger surrounding her. Can Tuan exact his revenge and protect the woman he loves? The plot has officially exploded. Don't miss a single second of this battle for survival. Hit like right now if you believe Tuan will successfully get his revenge. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be the first to witness the fateful showdown between Tuan and the traitor. The grandmother's embrace. After the emotionally charged yet tense moment of reunion, the grandmother, Mr. Thu's mother, quickly became the beacon of compassion that Diem desperately needed. Despite her son's obvious coldness and confusion, the grandmother led Diem into the house, her warm hand, chasing away the bone-chilling cold of the frosty night. Looking worriedly at Diem's haggard face, she said, "My dear, why have you gotten so thin? Come here, let me heat up some water for you to bathe and make you a hot ginger tea to warm your belly. Everything will be fine, my daughter." Those words were not just comfort. They were the most potent balm for Diem's shattered soul. The grandmother gently chided Mr. Thu for standing there frozen like a statue, ordering him to prepare hot porridge and tidy up the old room. Mr. Thu obeyed, but an indescribable restlessness lingered on his face, as if every action he took was concealing a great secret. Sitting in the cozy kitchen, sipping the hot tea, Diem felt like she was being resurrected. The grandmother's unconditional kindness was what she had longed for. The old woolen sweater the grandmother gave her, though a bit too big, carried the familiar scent of home, a scent long forgotten. Throughout the morning, the grandmother did not ask about Diem's journey or the hardships she had endured. She simply spoke gently about the everyday occurrences in the village, the harvest, the grandchildren who lived far away. She wanted Diem to rest, to allow the deep wounds in her heart a chance to close. Diem slept a long, deep sleep in the small, warm room. She no longer dreamed of storms or abysses. Instead, she dreamed of lush green rice fields, of Mr. Thu's laughter from the past, and the grandmother's gentle lullaby. She woke up feeling completely renewed. This peace, though fragile, was a true new beginning. However, Diem's return was an earthquake for Mr. Thu. Right after the grandmother and Diem entered the house, Mr. Thu locked the door. He then quickly went up to the attic, which he used for storing farm tools. He looked around tensely, his gaze finally settling on an old wooden chest. He pulled out a faded canvas cloth that had been carefully hidden at the bottom of the chest. This was the dark gray jacket he had worn on the night of the attack on Tuan. The attack that had turned Tuan into an anonymous man and left behind horrifying traumas. The fabric still retained traces of dry mud, and more alarmingly, a faint dark brown stain. No way! Why would she return right at this time? Mr. Thu whispered, his voice trembling. His face was pale, glistening with sweat. He stared at the cloth as if it were undeniable evidence of his guilt. Diem's appearance was not a reunion. It was a direct threat to Mr. Thu's secret. He knew Diem was intelligent and sensitive. Just one careless word, a strange look, or simply the coincidence of time and place could expose his secret. He quickly used a small knife to pry up a hidden floorboard and concealed the canvas underneath. From that moment on, Mr. Thu was in a constant state of alert. He tried to act normal in front of the grandmother and Diem, but his eyes constantly avoided theirs. One night, when Diem was fast asleep, Mr. Thu secretly approached his mother. He tried to inquire subtly, "Mother, is Diem okay staying here? What if someone comes looking for her later? Does she know anyone in the city? I heard things out there are very complicated." The grandmother, with a mother's intuition, looked him straight in the eyes. She saw his anxiety, but mistook it for concern for Diem's safety. "You worry too much, Thu. The poor girl is so vulnerable, she just wants a safe place to stay. As for her, I don't believe she's causing any trouble. Don't overthink it, just treat her kindly." Mr. Thu dared not say more, but deep down he knew the complication he was trying to avoid did not come from Diem, but from himself and his own actions. A few miles away, at the kind old woman's small house, Tuan was actively engaged in farm work, trying to fulfill his promise. His physical strength recovered quickly, and his hands, though he didn't remember, still instinctively knew how to hold a hoe and carry hay like a well-practiced natural reflex. However, every time he worked, the memory fragment of the attack intensified. Specifically one day, while he was hoeing the ground at the edge of the field near a thick bamboo grove, he felt a paralyzing sense of terror. That was the spot where he had the first memory fragment of a powerful blow to the head. This time, the memory became slightly clearer. He recalled the pungent smell of wet mud and a distinct smell of newly cut bamboo. That smell! What is that smell? He frowned, sniffing the air again. It wasn't clear anymore, but the feeling of fear remained. That afternoon, when Tuan accompanied the old woman to the village to buy supplies, he came across a group of workers repairing a collapsing embankment. He saw a craftsman cutting bamboo. The swish-swish sound of the knife hitting the bamboo stalk immediately triggered a loud echo in his head. He clutched his head in pain. This time, he didn't just see a vague silhouette. He saw a fleeting scene, a tall shadow dragging something, and behind that person was a large pile of stacked bamboo. The pungent smell of earth of cut bamboo and extreme terror enveloped him. He was certain his attack was related to an area with a lot of bamboo and mud. The old woman worriedly took him home. As they passed the village market, they coincidentally walked past Mr. Thu's house. The grandmother suddenly exclaimed, "Look, Tuan, that's Thu standing there. Just yesterday, that young girl Diem from the city came to stay at his place. It's so pitiful how thin she is from her travels. I'll go visit sometime. My grandson, Thu, is very gentle." Tuan looked towards Mr. Thu's wooden house. He only saw Mr. Thu hastily closing the gate. Immediately, he felt a discomfort an unnamed wariness toward this man. His face, even in a quick glance, made his head strangely ache. He didn't see Diem, but that name, Diem, echoed in his mind like an encoded keyword he needed to decipher. Under Mr. Thu's roof, Diem gradually found peace again. The boundless love and gentle care of the grandmother had become the spiritual balm that soothed all her wounds. The grandmother was not just Mr. Thu's mother. She had become the second mother Diem thought she had lost forever. "My poor child, don't worry about anything," the grandmother often said, gently stroking her head. "Consider this your home. Life. Everyone has their own storms to weather, haven't they? The important thing is to know how to get back up." Every gesture from the grandmother, from cooking simple, delicious country meals to mending Diem's tattered clothes, was steeped in maternal affection, helping Diem find stability and trust after weeks of despair. Yet amidst the comfort and solace, a persistent anxiety gnawed at Diem's mind, the uncertainty of Tuan's whereabouts and safety. Her heart ached with worry. She wondered if he was safe, if he had overcome the shock and injuries. The not knowing was a heavy burden. Memories of their time together, short but filled with sharing and empathy, flooded her mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible had happened to him, questioning whether he would ever be found or if he had truly abandoned her. She looked at Mr. Thu, who remained distant, and wondered if he knew something he was deliberately concealing. Mr. Thu's mother, with the sensitivity of someone experienced in life, sensed the young woman's distress. "My dear, you are worried about that young man, aren't you?" The grandmother took Diem's hand, her voice gentle. "If you believe in him, then hold on to hope. True affection will find a way. We will do everything we can ask around everywhere to uncover the truth, and who knows, maybe bring him home." With the grandmother's love and support, Diem found the strength to keep hope alive, believing that Tuan would be found and that their love would triumph. She resolved that once she was fully recovered, she would go searching for him herself. Concurrently, at the kind grandmother's house, Tuan was physically recovering rapidly. The strength and energy of youth helped him regain his healthy physique. However, his memory remained lost like a book with its most important pages ripped out. Even so, a small spark of recognition began to try and escape the darkness in his mind. In quiet moments, when he sat looking out at the lush green rice fields, fragments of the past, however vague, slowly began to surface. They seeped through small cracks in his consciousness, teasing him with whispers of a life once lived. He remembered the sensation of a warm hand grasping his. He recalled someone's clear laughter and the faint image of a young woman's face, but he couldn't name her or clearly see her features. The memory was still a curtain of mist, but they were no longer pure terror. They were signs of a connection and love that had once existed. He knew he had to keep searching. While Tuan was recuperating, the kind grandmother's health gradually deteriorated. Tired from the constant demands of caring for a newly recovered patient and managing the entire farm, she began to wear out. Her once strong hands now trembled when she held a cup of tea, and her steps slowed from exhaustion. Just when she needed it most, Tuan regained his strength and self-reliance. He recognized the burden she was carrying. A profound gratitude for the woman who had saved and sheltered him spurred him into action. He began to take over all the household and farm chores. He woke up earlier than the grandmother went to the fields first to harvest rice and tend to the garden. He learned to cook simple meals and meticulously cared for the grandmother. He carefully heated water for her to soak her feet, brewed warm ginger tea, and constantly inquired about her health. With every task he performed, he repaid her boundless love, dedication, and sacrifice. His gratitude was not just in words, but in deeds. Please rest, grandmother. I'm strong now. Leave everything to me. You are my savior. Tuan said, his voice resolute and affectionate, as he helped her sit down in a chair. The grandmother's eyes glistened, her heart filled with joy. She was touched to see Tuan growing strong and caring for her so devotedly. She knew she wasn't alone, that Tuan was there watching over her. The sight of Tuan working hard, full of responsibility and kindness, comforted her more than anything. Thank you, Tuan. You are a good child. She whispered, tears welling up. Meanwhile, at Mr. Thu's house, the tension persisted. Mr. Thu was constantly worried about Diem's presence. One day, the grandmother, Mr. Thu's mother, decided to visit the other grandmother, the one caring for Tuan, to bring some fresh vegetables and inquire about village news, secretly trying to gather information about the injured young man she had vaguely heard about. Once she left, Mr. Thu immediately sought out Diem. He tried to appear concerned, but the stiffness in his voice was undeniable. Diem, tell me, truthfully, where have you been? And what have you been doing all this time? You didn't run into anyone suspicious, did you? I mean, people who might be looking for you and causing trouble for our family. Diem sensed Mr. Thu's unusual anxiety. She answered honestly, but she concealed the relationship and the suffering she had endured with Tuan, fearing that the overly complicated story would trouble the grandmother. No, I haven't met anyone. I was just wandering around trying to find my way back. I don't intend to bother anyone, sir. Mr. Thu's evasive attitude made Diem even more suspicious. She knew he was hiding something. But was this concealment a crime, or just his own private fear? The gate to the truth began to open. Mr. Thu's grandmother and Tuan's grandmother, two kind women, met. They shared their joys and sorrows, and eventually, the stories of Diem and Tuan were told. The grandmother, caring for Tuan, recounted the story of the strong and kind young man with amnesia she had sheltered. Mr. Thu's grandmother shared the tale of the poor girl Diem who returned after much hardship. Oh my, what a twist of fate! We both have a child who needs protection, Tuan's grandmother exclaimed. Tomorrow, I'll bring Tuan over for lunch. He needs to meet new people to help spark his memory. This suggestion hit Mr. Thu, who had overheard the conversation while tinkering in the corner of the garden like a bolt of lightning. Mr. Thu quickly retreated. His face was ashen, masking sheer panic. He knew he had to act immediately before the devastating truth was exposed. Tuan meeting Diem in this very house could be the end of everything he was trying to protect. What do you think? What will Mr. Thu do to prevent the fateful meeting between Diem and Tuan? Will he dare to act recklessly again? Here is the next part of the story, where Tuan's true plot is revealed with shocking twists and the tension in Mr. Thu's house reaches its peak. The news that Tuan's grandmother was bringing him over for lunch caused Mr. Thu to completely lose control. The web of lies he had meticulously woven to protect himself and his secret was on the verge of collapse. Mr. Thu knew clearly this meeting would be a disaster. If Tuan recovered even a single fragment of memory, it could point directly to him as the attacker. And the presence of Diem, whom he knew had a deep connection with Tuan, would be the unavoidable catalyst to break his final wall of defense. He had to act. That night, Mr. Thu tossed and turned, unable to sleep. He sneaked up to the attic again, fumbling beneath the floorboard to retrieve the hidden canvas cloth. He took a small shovel and a sack and silently headed to the back of the garden where an old, overgrown embankment stood. He dug a deep hole enough to bury this incriminating evidence forever, hoping that the soil and time would cover all his guilt. "I'm sorry, Tuan. I have no other choice," Mr. Thu whispered, his voice full of despair. But the truth was far more complex and sinister than Mr. Thu or anyone else could ever imagine. The twists of fate had led them to this moment where the truth about Tuan's life was about to be revealed, and it was a tangled web of deceit and betrayal of which Mr. Thu's attack was only a small piece. While Mr. Thu was trying to bury his secret at the kind grandmother's house, Tuan was enduring another terrifying headache. The impending meeting with new people and the invisible tension from the village had strengthened Tuan's resolve, spurring his memories to awaken. He collapsed, clutching his head, and fragments of the life he once lived began to emerge, no longer a mist, but sharp, cold images. He recalled a tense board meeting, shouting, and signatures. He was adopted, and the people he had always considered family were stripping him of his legitimate assets and company. He was not just an ordinary person who was attacked. He was a pawn in a bigger game, manipulated and exploited by those closest to him. He remembered secret phone calls and forged documents. The purpose of the attack was not merely to injure him, but to cause permanent amnesia so they could finalize the asset takeover. And then the most horrific twist struck like a dagger piercing his heart. He remembered that fateful night. He wasn't harmed by a stranger, nor by the person currently trying to bury the evidence. The person who had ordered the attack on him was his mother, the woman he had known all his life as his mother. The woman who was supposed to love and protect him was instead the source of his pain and suffering, the mastermind behind every plot. She had hired people, and it was she who had ordered Tuan's life to be ended once the asset seizure was complete. The attack committed by Mr. Thu was only a fateful coincidence, an accident that occurred before the malicious adoptive mother's greater plan could be executed. The memory fully returned. Tuan, now not just a young man with amnesia, but a betrayed heir carrying the pain of the deepest deception. The next morning, despite his extreme anxiety, Mr. Thu tried to hide everything. He had to play the role of the dutiful son, preparing everything for the fateful meal. When Tuan's grandmother and Tuan stepped into the courtyard, the atmosphere thickened. Diem, who was helping Mr. Thu's grandmother set the table, turned around. Her eyes met his. Diem froze. Tuan was standing there healthy, but his eyes were no longer empty. They held heart-wrenching pain and absolute recognition. Tuan looked at her too. The vague image in his memories finally had a name, a face. Diem. She was his woman, the one he had once run away with. The truth about Tuan was waiting to be revealed, and when it did, it would shake the foundation of their world, especially Diem's. They both cried out each other's names in unison, but carrying two completely different tones. Diem Tuan Yu, you're alive. Overwhelming joy and tears. Tuan Diem, a mixture of love, pain, and extreme caution. Mr. Thu stood in the corner of the room. Seeing their eyes, seeing that mutual recognition, he understood that everything was over. But the story has just begun. This meeting is not merely the reunion of a couple. It is the intersection of two tormented destinies, where Diem's secret about Huyen's betrayal, about the hardships, finally has a much-needed resolution, and Tuan's secret about the betrayal from his own adoptive mother is opening up a new, much harder battle. Tuan's mind screamed a warning. He knew that his adoptive mother's betrayal was more dangerous than any other enemy. He had to protect Diem, and her safety was paramount. This episode was an emotional roller coaster. It's a relief to see Diem safe and well with Mr. Thu's family. But as one chapter closes, another opens, and the suspense is killing us. The wait for answers about Tuan's whereabouts was agonizing, but now they have found each other, and the road ahead will be far more challenging. Diem will have to confront the fear of whether Tuan is truly safe when his enemy is his own family. The anticipation is soaring. The journey ahead will be difficult, but with Mr. Thu's family, and of course, Diem's own strength, and Tuan's resilience, they can face whatever comes next. How long will Tuan pretend to have amnesia? Will he reveal the truth about his adoptive mother to Diem? Will Tuan forgive Mr. Thu, or will he use this threat to force Mr. Thu into becoming his ally? Feel free to leave your comments below with your theories and predictions. Tune in for the next episode, The Invisible Enemy, The Reluctant Alliance, and The Revenge Plan begins